morning. It's a pleasure and an honor to be able to speak on behalf of the World Bank here at the World Congress of Accountants. What I'm going to speak about is from a donor's perspective in regard to developing the profession worldwide, and in particular about the supporting professional accountancy development. I'd really like to start by putting it in context. From a World Bank perspective, the world faces enormous challenges. And just to give it reality, and I'm sure you've heard this before in some of the sessions, but also in the media, more than 1 billion people in the world today live on less than $1.25. Just imagine that, trying to feed your family living on $1.25 a day. And secondly, one of the emerging trends over recent years is that there's a widening gap between the rich and the poor in many of our nations. And that's resulting in, again, poverty, people living in poverty and not able to aspire to feed their children, to be able to give them education, to improve the quality of their life. So in the context when we talk about accountancy, I think we have to all realize we are part of a wider world and we need to contribute to it. At the World Bank, we have two ambitious goals which guide all of our mission and our activities. One is to end extreme poverty by 2030. That meaning less than 3% of the world will continue to be in the situation of having only existing on $1.25 a day. And the second one is to boost shared prosperity. What this means is that there's equal sharing of development in countries, that the bottom 40% in terms of economic GDP is increasing at the same rate right across, that there is sharing of development outcomes. So it's within this context that you could say, well, why is accountancy relevant? Why is supporting accountancy and the PAOs in particular relevant to the World Bank mission? Perhaps you think it should be as many, as is one of the challenges, there is so many demands in health, education. But the accountancy profession is uniquely positioned, in our view, to lead and drive towards development outcomes. It underpins the whole economic development and social development of a country. And it's not just confined to the private sector or the public sector. It is a partnership. And part of that is what the accountancy profession is deliver professionals, and it delivers high quality financial reporting, which is so essential for sustainable economic and social development. So in terms of what do we actually do? So in the World Bank, how do we support accountancy development across the world? Well, I think as you can see on this slide, there are a whole range of activities, and this is where professional accountancy bodies also have a key role to play. One is about raising awareness and advocacy for strong accounting profession within each country. Promoting the voice of developing nations is another key goal that we try and promote. Policy dialogue, policy reform, so that there is a good platform for accounting, for financial reporting, for regulation. Undertaking studies. Everybody needs to understand within each nation what's happening, what are the key trends. And as has been referred, there's the Global Development Report, which between partners and IFAC and the many professional accountancy bodies undertook a study to understand the trends worldwide. But then it comes down to very practical things about supporting, sharing and learning experiences, supporting standard setting, and most importantly, actually technical assistance and capacity development projects. And I'd encourage you to go and see the gallery. The IFAC joined with the development partners in terms of the gallery here to see the sorts of projects that have been undertaken to advance the development of accountancy and professional accountancy bodies within various nations throughout the world. But part of, before you can move forward, you need to understand, well, what is happening? How do we best use our resources to support the development of accountancy and professional accountancy bodies? There is a program called the Report of Observance and Standards and Codes. This is a part of a worldwide initiative that emerged after the financial crisis in the late 90s. And the accounting and auditing, or as it's abbreviated there, ROSC-A&A, is one of the 12 ROS, but this focuses on accounting and auditing and is a diagnostic tool to be able to look at the financial architecture within a country and to study what might be the priorities, what the sequencing and what the policy areas that need reform to be able to advance the role of the accountant, the role of the profession within that country to support development outcomes. So doing these studies, we work with national authorities to carry out the studies. And then most importantly, it's developing a proposal, policy proposals and action plans to be able to build capacity. Now, more than 140 ROSC in 118 countries have been conducted over the last 10 years. And the program has it's generated substantial knowledge and lessons and areas, key features, which are common across many of the studies that we have undertaken. And as you will see on this slide, these are sort of 4 key areas that consistently arise from the studies, in that there is weak accountancy and PAO capacity in many of our developing nations. There's incomplete statutory and regulatory frameworks. Inadequate education and training, and I think our previous speakers have talked about this as being so critical to the future of the profession and its role in supporting a developing and emerging economy. And monitoring and enforcement, back to the credibility, about the credibility of the profession. That's so important as countries emerge in having stronger and more vibrant economies and within the whole social development. So looking forward to 2020, what are the strategic directions that we would focus on at the World Bank? So our vision is high quality, reliable financial reporting supported by a well-developed accountancy profession. And within that profession, there is the critical institutions that we believe need to be either created in many countries that they don't actually exist, or to be strengthened, and that's the professional accountancy bodies. So 4 key areas that we have identified for strategic focus in moving towards 2020: strong standards, regulation, and public oversight. There we see the profession has a critical role to play, together with other institutions, regulatory institutions, with the governments. Another area, education, accounting education. And here I think it's most important that the entire spectrum of accounting professional be recognized. Accounting technicians are a critical element of the accounting profession, and I believe that this needs to be recognized within that there is a progression from accounting technician to specialist accountants in various areas such as taxation, extractive industries, and through to the CFO role, through to the CPA, the auditor. So it needs a broad spectrum. It needs a wide view on what are we supporting. What is the accounting profession? And again, here, PAOs have a critical role to play. We've heard much about technology. Well, technology has a huge role that we can use to leverage sharing experiences, learning from each other, and without reinventing the wheel. So how can we use technology to help grow the profession into its full potential to be able to support the development of the economies for social cohesion, social development? And last, I would like to touch on an area that we're very passionate about, which is about promoting public financial management. And here it is about a public-private partnership. We see it essential that the profession be viewed not just as CPAs or just within the narrow confines of corporate financial reporting for the private sector. That is so very, very important, not to say that it's not, but there needs to be enhanced public financial management to deliver accountability. It needs to be transparent. It needs to have quality professionals working within the public, within the public sector, to be able to deliver quality services to the citizens of the country, and to do it with effective financial information, financial reports to make decisions, and for professionals from the accountancy profession to be leaders in this regard. So these are the strategic directions, and we see this, that we don't do, donors such as the World Bank, we don't do this alone. This needs to be a partnership across all of the various institutions. So, and one of the critical principles of which Mosaic, which has been referred to, is that we respect country leadership in accountancy development. You need, within each of your countries, to have your voice, to speak out and to be able to develop. Where is your strategic direction? Where do you need support? What do you see as the critical factors? Donors, from our part, we commit to cooperating and harmonising. At times this can be a challenge, but this is one of the principles that we need to work hard on, and we commit to working in this manner. And part of Mosaic is to be able to enhance the development support for the accountancy profession. IFAC has, as the global body for the profession, has such an essential role, and you will see through the IFAC website about knowledge creation, sharing good practice, facilitating learning within the development space. They have many other roles, but within the development space, these are critical. And professional accountancy organisations, at the country level, that is where development helps. And when you think about it, why are we developing? Why are we focusing on the accountancy profession? It's about supporting the development of the economies, about sharing the prosperity that occurs within the country across all citizens of that country. And in this way, each one of us, as an accounting professional, will contribute to those critical goals, which is about ending extreme poverty and sharing prosperity. And so with that note, I urge you to go back to your countries and view your role as a professional in the wider context of making the world a better place for each and every citizen to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.